Welcome back guys to Most Amazing Top 10. My name is Danny Berg and I do want to know from you guys if you've seen this video right up here that I'm pointing at. This is when Rebecca talked all about some of the hottest movie scenes of all time. She got a bit hot under the collar. Now I think a lot of you guys did too. You seem to absolutely love it and we saw a whole bunch of requests for a part 2. The people have spoken. It is decided. We shall now embark on our top 10 hottest movie scenes part 2. Just try and stay cool guys, keep it chill. Alright, starting things off now with our number 10, we have 300. Now this is a great movie, I very much enjoyed it, but it is famously very violent. In the middle of it though, we get a brief moment of passion with a pretty hot scene. Leonardus is played by Gerard Butler and he's sitting on the bed with his wife Gorjo, who's played by Lena Headey. You might recognise her these days as Cersei from Game of Thrones. Anyway, he's sitting on the bed moaning about the bloody oracles and what they're chatting, and she's not having any of his moping around. She sits up and says, "Listen, don't worry about what a Spartan or a husband or a king should do. You should ask yourself, what should a free man do?" Now apparently in ancient times, questions like that are like super hot because suddenly they can't keep their hands off each other. I'll let your imagination fill in the blanks, but there's a lot of slow motion, there's a lot of gasping, very breathy, and there's a lot of this and a lot of that. Okay, coming in at number 9 now, we have the train scene from Risky Business. Now this scene is so 80s, it almost hurts. It starts off with Phil Collins singing "I Can Feel It Coming in the Air Tonight," and yeah, he's not wrong. Rebecca De Mornay and a boyish looking Tom Cruise take a ride on the subway late at night looking to get up to no good. They get on the train, but there's still a lot of people on there, and Tom says, "I thought you said nobody was gonna be here," and she says, "Be patient," and she gives him a cheeky little pinch on his bum. That's when you know things are about to heat up. So one by one, everyone gets off the train, even the creepy drunk guy who knows what is about to go down and is so down to see it happen. Tom helps him off at the next stop, and then they have the whole place to themselves. As they get it on, you don't see any nudity really, but you don't really need to. It's all about that suspense that they've been building up that makes it super hot, super worth the wait, and we all get to watch it, and oh god, I've just realised we've turned into that creepy drunk guy. Oh well. Moving on to number 8 now, we have The Longest Ride. Now even the title of this movie is it's pretty suggestive. Can you guys guess what it's suggesting? That's right, it's suggesting bull riding. Why, what were you guys thinking of? So this movie is based on a book written by the author of The Notebook and Dear John, so you kind of know what you're in for with it. Two very attractive people walking around being very attractive and either shouting at each other or just getting it on. There's a whole lot of bull riding in this movie, which doesn't really sound like it should set the scene for, you know, sexy stuff, but there's enough leather, horse whipping, cowboy hats and denim that's a bit too tight that it definitely seems to work. There's a whole lot of pent up emotion in the movie because he keeps getting really hurt by riding, well, angry bulls, and she doesn't like that one bit. All of it finally comes out in a classic shower scene. We've got metaphorical steam, we've got literal, like actual steam coming out of the shower, there's multicolored stained glass windows, and when she's pinned up against a shower wall for that amount of time, the title of this movie really starts to make sense. Next up at number 7 now, we have Knock Knock. Now in this scene, Keanu Reeves tries to not have sex with 2 women because, as he says, he is a happily married man with 2 kids. He insisted. The final answer is no for about 10 seconds, and then he just gives in and does it anyway. Yeah, he really didn't put up much of a fight, if I'm honest. It turns out in the end that these girls are twisted psychopaths who end up torturing Keanu, but regardless of that, it's a pretty hot scene in a weird way. It's got the steamy shower glass stuff going on and flashes of passion, complete with all the sound effects you might expect, and not even the creepy violin music or the pictures of his wife and family on the wall seem to detract from the raw primal lust that's going on here. Poor Keanu. He really put up a good fight, but it just wasn't enough to avoid a steamy threesome. Such a shame. Alright, coming in number 6 now, we have the hotel scene in Out of Sight. This 1998 movie starred Hollywood legend George Clooney and R&B icon J-Lo. He's a bank robber and he's kidnapped her, a US Marshal, and so of course sparks are gonna fly. I mean, it's basically illegal for these two to be together. It's wrong. She should be arresting him, you know, putting him in handcuffs. Okay, maybe not handcuffs. So they end up in a dimly lit, classy hotel room. It's snowing outside, they're all cozy, and they start talking about the criminal case in a kind of sexy way. It's weird, you have to see it. They have these soft, sensual voices just talking about crime. Eventually, J-Lo is like, right, enough is enough, and she says, let's get out of here, and by that she means let's just go into the next room, into the bedroom. After a cheeky strip tease, he throws her down onto the bed, the kissing begins, and the rest is up to your imagination. But if I know George Clooney, and I think I do, they ain't gonna start playing naked Scrabble, if you get what I mean. Alright, moving on to number 5 now, we have the library scene from Atonement. Now if any of you guys like two incredibly posh English people getting it on in a library surrounded by books, then look no further than this scene. Keira Knightley and James McAvoy sneak off together and struggle to find a word to express their love for one another as the candlelight flickers around them. Their two characters have had actual years and years of pent-up lust for each other. They were actually childhood sweethearts, and it all comes out in this very charged scene. There is no intense music or like multiple shots of them getting it on in different rooms. It all happens right there and then up against a bookcase. After their breathy romp, they finally find the words to tell each other how they feel. They just say, I love you. That's it. I could have told them that. That's easy. I could have saved them a whole bunch of pleasure if only they'd asked. Alright, coming in number 4 now, we have Love and Basketball. This 2000 movie followed the ups and downs of Monica and Quincy, two budding basketball players at the beginning of their careers. When they both find out they got into UCLA on basketball scholarships, they celebrate by releasing all of their sexual tension and slam dunking themselves into the bedroom. That has to be the weirdest metaphor I've ever used, but amazingly it still works. It starts off with an accidental kiss and then it moves into the bedroom. Now she's nervous because it's her first time, but Quincy is very classy with her and he takes it slow as the audience is treated to the very sexy R&B track This Woman's Work. He even stops halfway through to make sure they have protection. Check it out. What an absolute champ. This scene is not only hot and steamy, it's probably stopped quite a lot of teenage pregnancies from happening. Alright, moving on to number 3. We're going way back to 1986 for the Ice Cube scene in 9.5 Weeks. That's an actual scene with ice cubes, not some deleted scene from Straight Outta Compton. Now this film is often referred to as a psychosexual one because a lot of it comes from Elizabeth's need for something more than just plain old lovemaking. You know what really spices things up? Ice cubes. Yeah, he rubs them all over her, no place is safe from the sexy ice cube, and Elizabeth can't seem to get enough of it. And for the few viewers who didn't get that this scene was meant to be very hot, they even throw in a bit of sexy panpipe music for good measure. I think ice cubes are just great, aren't they? You know, you can keep your drinks cold, you can make them at home, and they're great for hot psychosexual relationships who are looking to take things to the next level in the bedroom. I love having a cold drink. Coming in at number 2 now, we've got the movie Unfaithful. Now in this movie, Connie Sumner is a woman who got caught up in a very messy affair with a handsome French guy called Paul. The one problem is she's got a husband and a kid and he isn't committed to her like at all. He's a guy who doesn't know boundaries. When she tries to cut things off with him, she spots him with another woman and she becomes enraged. She confronts him and screams at him and he's all like, whoa, chill. You're a hypocrite. You cheated on your husband for me, love, alright? So just back off. She storms out of the apartment and Paul chases after her. Eventually he catches up in the stairwell and they start making out, like you do. Connie is still furious at him though, but anger and lust seem to be very close on the emotional spectrum and she finds herself tearing off their clothes while still saying, I can't do it, I can't do it. But yeah, she can do it, and yeah, they do it. Quite a lot. It's so wrong, it's right. Kind of like a slice of pizza topped with tiny slices of pizza. We've reached the end now guys, and finally at number 1 we have Enemy at the Gates. Vasily, played by Jude Law, is a legendary Russian sniper at the Battle of Stalingrad who is idolized by the other soldiers for killing a whole bunch of Nazis with his sniper rifle. Now one of the soldiers that loves him in a whole different way is Tanya. They become romantically involved, but it's hard to find room for passion when you're eating, fighting and sleeping with dozens of other men in a bombed out building. Not very romantic. But despite all of that, these two couldn't stop getting intimate. In this scene, she sneaks into the barracks where Vasily is sleeping alongside the other men. They start getting it on just inches away from the other sleeping soldiers. First they kiss, and then they're fumbling, and then comes the most silent, rigid lovemaking you'll ever see in your life. What you're seeing here is two people who might get killed in a battle the very next day, and although they want to be quiet, they really don't give a if Igor wakes up next to them. Even in one of the bloodiest battles in history where over 1 million soldiers died, Tanya and Vasily still find time and space to squeeze in a passionate romp. And that's pretty hot. Well guys, that was our top 10 hottest movie scenes part 2. Now we made this because of overwhelming demand from all of you, and a lot of people were annoyed that their favourite hot movie scenes weren't featured in our first part. But there might still be some of you out there right now who are furious that we didn't mention your favourite hot scene in this part. So do you guys want to see a part 3? If you do, then you know what to do. Make yourself heard down below in the comment section. Make sure you're subscribed too so you don't miss out on it and all of our other videos right here on Most Amazing Top 10. My name is Danny Burt. You can find me on Instagram somewhere down there, and I'll see you guys soon.